Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is episode number 2 of the truck camper build. I have Missed the School Bus Mike with me today.
I didn't miss it today.
For those of you that know Mike, you know what I'm talking about. And those of you who don't know Mike, go back and watch past videos. There's a joke in that. So what we're doing today is very basic. I have a few things laid out on the table. I've got 2 tubes of silicone. This is 100% clear silicone. I have a tube of construction glue that's going to be used, probably not today, but that is going to be part of the build. We have some new bushings for the tailgate because the tailgate is a little bit wonky, so these are going to go in. I've got some black paint, a paintbrush, because the inside of the cap is going to get painted black. We then have the caulking gun to apply the glue and silicone. And probably the most important part of today is this window screen kit. So it's a repair kit. We're going to replace the window screens in both side windows and water seal them all at the same time. And then for those of you who watched episode number 1, you probably remember I mentioned a custom exhaust. At some point during this video, I'm going to let you hear the new exhaust. So let's get to work.
Let's get to it.
Okay guys, so for the first task, I'm going to get Mike standing on the outside of the truck. I'm going to go inside with a ratchet and I'm going to loosen off some of these hex nuts and remove the frame from the window. Hopefully nothing bad will happen and we should be able to slightly nudge the window out towards Mike. He's then just going to take it, place it on the ground. Then we're going to inspect the seal on the cap and the seal on the window. We'll probably move the window over to the tabletop to remove the old screen and place in the new screen. Hopefully this all goes smoothly. So I'm going to grab a ratchet, jump in, and start pulling those out. Alright, so I'm just going to back all of these screws off and hopefully I don't lose any of them. I've got a screwdriver for speed and a ratchet for torque. So I'm just going to break these loose with the ratchet. Nice and easy. And it looks like somebody had already serviced this cap at some point because there is a screw missing out the top and you can just tell that someone has been kind of tinkering with it. So hopefully everything comes off well and we don't have any issues. So I'm just going to loosen all of these off and get the window frame out and then pop it out to Mike, and I'll run out and give him a hand as well just in case something goes wrong. But I think this will be a pretty quick job to get this window off and get it sealed up and get the window screen put in, because that is definitely going to be a huge part in this camper build, is having these screens with no bugs being able to get in, and just for a little bit of comfort. So I'm going to continue getting these off and get the window frame out. Seal's on there pretty good. I want to go give it a little nudge, probably here if you want to hold the center. Try and give that a little nudge right there. Let's see if we can get some movement. Alright, pretty simple, not too bad.
Yeah.
You can see that seal definitely does need to be replaced.
The spots, yeah. Surfing banged up.
So the seal on, trying to show this here, the seal on the window is that factory rubberized seal. It's not in terrible shape, but there are seams where both ends kind of meet, and I don't know if that's a repair. Oh, that's a seam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the window itself looks like it's in good shape. Somebody definitely did have this off at some point. There's a screw in there. I don't know why that's there. That obviously broke off.
Yep, I'd say so.
So I might have to nip that off with some pliers. But the window itself looks like it's in really good shape. The seal on the outside is where we're mainly going to be putting our focus. I want to get a scuff pad, and we're just going to scuff some of that off. And then when we do put the window back in place, we're going to run a big fat bead of clear silicone. And we're going to press the window up there, get the bolts back in nice and tight. The seal of silicone is going to go both on the inside and the outside of the cap. So it's definitely going to be watertight. But for now, let's get this over to the tabletop and let's replace the window screen. All right, guys, we got the window out and over to the table. No damage done. Looking pretty good so far. So what I've got for window screen, without taking Mike's head out, I just went to the local hardware store and I've got regular window screens. So this is a fiberglass window screen. This was about $12 to $15 for the entire roll. It even came with the rolling tool and the piping material, but we just investigated and found out that the piping material looks like it's going to be much too larger for this window frame. So we're actually going to be reusing the piping in here, but the problem is it is cut. So we're going to have to put it back in two separate pieces, which is not a problem, especially with this tool. It's going to make it super easy to roll it in place and get a nice tight screen. So let's get the old screen out. I'm going to start. Yeah, I'll start over here and hopefully we can pry it up and peel it off in one piece. If you want to peel that out, I'll go to the other side and start peeling this towards you. Alright, so our piping actually came off in 3 pieces. There's still a little piece left in there. I'm just going to pry it up. The bonus is, whoever put this in, I'm guessing the factory, I don't think the screen's ever been replaced. They actually overlapped it by a good 3 inches, so they went past where they needed to stop, so that's perfect. And then we just need to remove that vertical piece. Yeah. So with the extra piping, we'll be able to get it to butt up really nicely. And if you want to, let me go ahead and peel this out.
Yep. Give her a hack.
And then out comes the screen. Super easy. Yeah, that's not too bad. Pretty basic job getting that out of there. As long as we don't lose our window piping, we'll be okay. This window screen is actually the better of the two. There's only one nick in here. And I figure we're already taking the windows out to reseal them. Why not just do both window screens? It makes so much sense. So this has, well, probably 2 holes in it actually. So we'll toss that off to the side. We're going to get the new screen laid over top. We're going to cut a generous amount overlapping, get the piping in there, get it nice and tight, and then trim it up, and then prep the cap with some rubbing alcohol. We're going to clean all that dust off of there, get the silicone on, and slap the window back in place. Perfect. Get that out of the way. Close her up. Alright, so we're going to get the piping in here and start working our way around the window, keeping it nice and tight. And basically, whenever you install a window, as you're rolling the pipe, it's going to self-tighten itself, but sometimes you do need to give it a little tug and then work the piping in, especially around the corners and whatnot. So we're going to work this and get it all nice and set, and then, like I said, we're going to move it over to the truck and get it put back in. Alright, so we look like we're not short on any side, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this in. Getting this stuff started sometimes is it's actually going pretty good. Alright guys, we got the screen in the window, and that actually went really well, better than we both thought it was going to go. Really well. We've got rubbing alcohol. We're just going to quickly scrub all the muck off of where the window seal is going to go. There is quite a bit of dirt and whatnot. So we're going to scrub that off and then give it a quick wipe down with some water, and then we'll be ready to put our silicone bead around the window, and then we're going to press the window in. Alright guys, we got the outside of the cap all cleaned up. I've got the 100% clear silicone loaded in the caulking gun. One thing I do want to mention with the window being a foam seal. So the windows on these caps, the inside, the seal is not actually rubber. It's kind of like a foamy type rubber. And if you leave that on the window driving off-road, sometimes as you go over bumps, the cap's going to move and the window does move a little bit. and some dust can make it in between the cap material and the foam on the window, and that's generally how you end up with leaky windows over time. So that's the reason why I'm putting the silicone on the outside, is to basically sandwich in between the foam and the window and the cap material, therefore creating a watertight seal, and it won't be able to wiggle around as much as the foam would. So let's get this piped on there and let's get the window on. Pop that side out. Yeah, that was a nudge. There you go. Good? Yep. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to jump in. You want to hold that there. Alright guys, we got the first window back in. The screen is super nice and tight and it's looking really, really good. So we're going to move on to the second window, get that out and do the same thing. Alright guys, here we have the second window pane removed from the truck, and here you can see this one's a lot more damaged. We've got some pretty large holes chewed in the screen, so that's why we're replacing it. So we're just going to rip this out, do the exact same thing we did on the last one, and then get this back on the truck. Okay guys, we got both windows installed in the truck. Again, they're all resealed and rescreened. They actually turned out incredibly good, nice and tight. Listen to this. Oh yeah. So both window screens went in really well. We siliconed both the outside and the inside, torqued it all back down. Everything went really well. So now I have an issue with my tailgate. You'll notice that this cable is loose. That cable is very tight. So this is very, very common on a lot of trucks, especially the Dodge trucks. The bushing on that side is completely blown out. So what's happening is the tailgate is actually not sitting straight. So let's say this was the back of the truck and this was the tailgate where they meet. It's not actually straight. So on this side, it has the proper amount of gap that it should have, which is about 1.5 inches. Up there is probably closer to 2 inches. So it's actually spreading, which is causing this to have a lot of slack and that to be very tight. Which also means when I shut the tailgate, it doesn't line up unless I slam it, because this side is flush. This side is actually kind of lifted up and out a tiny bit, so it has to slam shut. I'll show you guys the gap a little bit closer. Okay guys, so this gap right here is what I'm trying to show. As I rotate the tailgate, you'll see that it actually lines up the way it's supposed to. And then when I drop it down, that gap is forming because the bushing is completely shot. So we need to replace that bushing. The bushing that I got off Amazon said it was for this exact year-end style truck, and they are completely different. However, with some modification, it will actually fit. So it has these little fingers on the end. I'm going to have to cut those off, place it in there. It does fit. We're just going to make it work. So we got all the pieces necessary. I'm just going to jam it in there, get it back on the truck, and see how it fits. after messing around with the tailgate a little bit, we realized that it only needed one of the pieces in the kit. The kit is actually a universal fit. But the reason why we were confused is some of the parts are super close to fitting this truck. It looked like this tailgate was actually missing a few components. It actually only needed the one side. So I did take my knife and I chopped off those little wings. It fits in there nice and smooth. So Mike, if you want to go ahead and lift that up there, or I'll lift it.
Go ahead.
So you can now see that the tailgate gap is completely flush, and it closed a lot. Like now, it is completely flush, and it shuts super, super easy. So I'll give you guys a close-up on the bushing side, what that looks like now, and it is definitely a lot smoother. Okay guys, here's a look at the old bushing, and now that the new one is in there, full rotation, much better. Alright, so now that I've got the tailgate squared away, that was actually a really simple job. I thought it was going to be a little bit more involved, but it wasn't. So the windows are all completely sealed up. Tailgate's done. Now I'm going to paint the inside of the cap. So bring you guys up to speed with my truck camping kind of history. I had a truck camper built in the back of a Ford Ranger twice. I rebuilt it. And I painted the cap black both times on the interior. And for two reasons. One, aesthetically, it just looks better instead of looking at all the fiberglass kind of hairs. And two, it cuts down on mold and mildew, because the mold and mildew will actually start to grow on the cap material if it's moist. And if you have some kind of gloss paint, this is semi-gloss, if you have that up there, you can quickly wipe it with a cloth and it won't soak into the fiberglass fibers growing mold. And the bonus is, when I take my little girls out, they can stick on glow-in-the-dark stars on the roof and look at the stars while they're sleeping. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to paint the inside of the cap, probably up to the top of the windows today. And I can't do the roof because I'm actually going to be getting some wood similar to this size. And I'm going to be ripping it 6 feet long, just little strips. And I'm going to be gluing them to the roof. So on either side of the cap, there will be two that run right above. That's going to give me an anchor point for a lot of things to come in future episodes, which I'm not going to mention today. But I can't do the roof because I do need to get that wood and then glue it on there and then paint the entire cap completely black. So today it's just going to be painting the black right up to the top, and that's going to be it. Okay, just before I get started with the painting process, I just remembered I've got to let you guys hear the exhaust. So on the last episode I mentioned I was getting a custom exhaust put on. It is on, and I'll let you guys hear it right now. It looks better already. Makes the cap look awesome, especially when it's all completely painted. And I just coat this on as thick and nasty as I can get it on there to get it right in the fibers of the fiberglass. And this makes it awesome at nighttime for sleeping. Especially if you're sleeping in the summer, because the sun comes up quite early. And let's say you don't want to get up till about 8 or 9 in the morning. Well, the entire inside of the truck will be black. So pretty awesome. I like it. Gives it a real cozy, clean feel to the inside of the cap. So I'm going to paint this up, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm finished to give you guys a look. And we'll wrap it up from there. Okay guys, I'm all done for the night, and I got pretty much the entire cap painted, except for the roof, of course. Now, these little rails that you can probably see, the edges are still white. Those are going to be completely invisible. So when I actually start building, there is going to be a high piece of wood that's going to go over top of that. So the clamps in the truck and that whole portion are not going to be visible at all. But that is basically all I'm doing for today. So me and Mike are all done. We did a pretty good job today. We got the windows sealed. We got the window screens put in. We got the tailgate fixed, and we got the entire cap painted except for the roof. So the next time I do come back out on episode 3, I'll be finishing up the paint. I'll be putting the boards on top and then painting off the roof and probably a couple more pieces of kit. I'm still waiting for things to come in the mail. And then once the entire cap is completely figured out, then I'm going to be getting into building. As you can see, I've already got some pieces of wood in here. I got to pick up some plywood, and that stuff is not cheap nowadays. Wow, almost $100 a sheet of plywood. And I need 4 sheets for sure. So that is all we got for today. One more thing, Mike has started his own YouTube channel. So I'll let Mike explain this one.
Oh, really? Put me on the spot again.
On the spot.
All right. Oh, where do we start? Well, it's a camping channel, as we're all used to watching. So I'm going to start doing some ATV camping on it. Fixing my ATV right now. Wall camping, hot tenting, the same old, right? So it's called East Coast Outside Adventures. It's hoping it'll take off pretty soon, but you know.
Just starting it.
Yeah,
It's not that old.
Yeah, it's what, less than a year actually. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's me, my kids, my girlfriend, couple friends.
Yeah, basically the same stuff that I do.
Yeah.
I'll put the link for that down in the description for his channel so you guys can navigate your way over there and check out his stuff. One thing Mike did forget to mention is he's actually going towards four-wheeling with his ATV and camping. So he's got some interesting things in the works, and we've been kind of brainstorming together. So he might have some interesting things coming to his channel, just like I have interesting things coming to this channel with the truck build. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
But definitely head on over to his channel and check it out. And I'm sure he'll be back up here again. Actually, Mike will be back up here again because Mike has to help me get the seal on the bottom of the cap because we got to lift the whole cap up and reseal the bottom and basically to tie it all in with the waterproofness. So that'll be a sunny day.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So that is all we got for you guys. All that was done today. Check out episode 3 when it comes out. If you already haven't checked out episode 1, go back and check out episode 1. And hopefully we'll be actually starting to build the truck camper very shortly. So that's all I got. Peace out, and thanks for watching.